Welcome to Werezilla's Retrospective. I'm your host, Werezilla. I've mentioned this several times before on the show, but I think it's time we officially talk about Super Sentai. As I've mentioned previously, Sentai is a long-running Japanese show about teams of heroes fighting monsters that are attacking the world, which has now gone on for 36 years. And of course, by the time Sentai got to its 16th series, Koryu Sentai Zyuranger, Saban Entertainment in America got the idea to use its footage to create Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which has led to one of the biggest divides among fans since Star Wars vs. Star Trek, which isn't anywhere near as petty of an argument. Yes, Super Sentai has been going on for 36 years, as opposed to Power Rangers 20. Yet there have been petty arguments of which is better. It's two shows that use the same footage. There's hardly any reason for fans to be coming to the conclusion that one is superior and the other is retarded. No joke, I've heard people make that statement. There are good and bad to both sides, and anyone who thinks otherwise is just ignoring the obvious positives and obvious negatives to both shows. It's gotten to the point that it's almost a rule on the internet that you're not even allowed to like both. You have to like one and despise the other with all your being. Well, I'm going to defy that rule and enjoy both. And I'll start with the third Sentai I ever watched, Engine Sentai Go-Onger. And having had to put up with two awful Japanese Transformers theme songs, I am quite happy to say that Go-Onger's theme is a huge improvement. I can listen to this whole thing, it's that good. The theme does everything right. It's catchy, it's fast-paced, it's unique, and probably the best thing of all, its lyrics are relevant to the show. If only Headmasters and Master Force's themes got those elements. The show opens, not with Episode 1, but rather Grand Prix 1, Allies of Justice. We open on Machine World, the home of a race of giant sentient vehicles with animal motifs called engines. I'm guessing this is where Cars takes place as well. It's here we meet three engines, Speedor, Busan, and Bear RV, chasing down the leaders of a faction of villains known as the Gaiark from their dimension. We cut to our own dimension 6 months later, where the Gaiark have decided to attack. Bucky confronted by three individuals, Sosuke, Ren, and Saki, who reveal they are... Engine Sentai! Go-Onger! So the Go-Ongers battle the Gaiark's forces while being watched by three groups. The first being our three main villains, Earth Pollution Minister Yoga Stein, Air Pollution Minister Kitanetas, and Water Pollution Minister Kegareshia. They reiterate to their monster that their intention is to pollute Earth so they can live on it instead. I'll explain why this is not as pointless villainy as it is in Captain Planet a little later. The second group involves a passing pizza boy Hanto and former cop Gunpei. Gunpei, of course, isn't pleased that the Go-Ongers are, in his words, a bunch of kids. I'm guessing he doesn't approve of the teenagers with attitude concept. But your identities are not meant to be a secret, apparently. From what I understand, only 3 Sentai seasons even bother with maintaining secret identities. Turbo Ranger, Mega Ranger, and Ghost Ranger. And interestingly enough, all 3 of those teams were also teenagers with attitude. Go figure. Anyway, back to the Gaiark ministers. They upgrade their monster with a substance known as Bikkuririum, which literally translates out to Surpriseium. Because I guess they used up their supply of raritanium prior to arriving on Earth. Or human world as they call it. Once the Go-Ongers defeat the monster, the Bikkuririum makes it grow to giant size. However, it turns out the Go-Ongers are allied with the engines we saw at the beginning. So they bring out Speedor, Busan, and Bear RV together to form their giant robot, Ingenu, which they use to defeat the monster. Hanto and Gunpei show up after the fight, and Gunpei insists he should be a Go-Onger too because apparently he thinks he's more suited, while Hanto's tactic is more, oh come on. Needless to say, the Go-Ongers make a break for when they get the chance. However, that's not the last they would see of the two, as we see in Grand Prix 2, Reckless Fellows. While the Go-Ongers fight another monster, Gunpei kidnaps their little robot buddy Bumper, who explains to him and Hanto that the engines can only stay in their giant forms for 10 minutes. As such, they need to split their soul and their bodies, which shrank down into a convenient toy size. Human partners put the souls into the engine casts, and to make them useful, they are given powers to battle alongside their engines. Gunpei still refuses to return the engine cast because he still thinks Sosuke's team are too reckless to be Go-Ongers. And conveniently enough, a giant monster shows up. But the Go-Ongers fight even without their engines. Bumper explains that they once fought the Gaiark attacking the racing track they all worked at, giving Bumper the incentive to give them their powers. Inspired, Hanzo and Gunpei try to return the engine cast despite the giant monster throwing splooge everywhere, so Bumper decides to give them powers as well. And since there are now 5 Go-Ongers, they decide to do the traditional roll call. So, did Bumper just tell them their place in the roll call, or did they just assume based on their numbers? I also do have to wonder why the series started with 3 members when they were going to immediately add 2 more in the second episode. I guess the usual red, blue, green, or black, yellow, and pink configuration wouldn't work since Saki is the only girl on the team and not pink. Anyway, Hanzo and Gunpei get their own engine partners in Grand Prix 4, Engine Trouble. Gunpei's engine is Gumperd. Wow, that's a coincidence with the names. And Hanzo gets Burka, which based on his verbal tics is Italian, because it's possible for a being from another dimension to be Italian. And with this being a post-Wild Force season, partner! Be careful! Using Power Rangers terms could get you killed! Ah, right. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, right, of course. This is my engine partner, Truckto. Truck? And with this being a post-Gao Ranger season, Burka and Gumperd can become arms for Engino. And why they don't become arms simultaneously is anyone's guess. At least for Engino, as we see in Grand Prix 7, Partner Amigo. Kind of a redundant title, actually. Here, the Gaiark trick the Go-Ongers into battling another engine, Corrugator, a member of the Giant race of engines. Hanzo and Gunpei manage to talk him into joining them, and they combine Burka, Gumperd, and Corrugator to form the Pretazord! Partner! Sorry. And they combine Burka, Gumperd, and Corrugator to form Gao Hunter, Gunbaro. What? You combine a fish, a canine, and a crocodilian together, what am I supposed to think? And of course, they managed to one-up that in Grand Prix 10. Depart, alright? The ministers create a monster with the ability to copy both giant robots' attacks, so Ren decided to make some adjustments to the engine cast so they could bring all 6 engines together to form Engino G6. I guess that explains why Burka and Gumperd were never armed at the same time before now. They were waiting for a pair of corrugator skin boots. So after an episode where Hanzo puts the engine souls in the wrong casts... A new villain arrives to shake things up in Grand Prix 15, Engine Stall. This is Yoko Stein's Vice Minister, Hiramekimedes, a competent, loyal subordinate that the engines are actually afraid of. They do their best against Hiramekimedes, but he has the intelligence and flight advantage, until the arrival of 2 new engines, Triptor and Jetdress, members of the Wings engines that Speedor and company didn't even know existed. The Go-Ongers figure the Wings will eventually join them, but as Grand Prix 17, Wings of Justice reveals, it turns out they already have human partners.